Hey y'all, welcome back to MamaFin's Kitchen. It is the middle of the week and we're gonna make another soup. It's fall, it's soup time, and this is also one that I really love. It's a Italian sausage spinach tortellini soup. Makes a great thing to make like on a Sunday afternoon and then reheat during the week for your lunches, or you can make it on like a Monday night and then have it for lunch the next day or whatever, however it works for you. But it does make really great leftovers, and soups are one of the few things that I actually don't mind eating leftovers of. I'm not a huge leftover person. My husband usually eats those, but out of the fridge for us. But when it comes to soups, I do like soups leftover. I feel like sometimes they get even better the next day. So we're gonna make this Italian sausage tortellini soup, and we're gonna do it in our handy dandy pressure cooker again. So get out your Instant Pot or whatever brand that you have, and we'll make this. It comes together pretty quickly. But before we do that, let's talk about our cast of characters and your ingredients that you're gonna need. You're gonna need some olive oil. And this one that I'm using tonight is from a local place called The Tasteful Olive, but it's a basil infused olive oil, which I love since there's basil in this recipe as well. It's just gonna amp up that flavoring. But if you've just got regular olive oil, totally fine. Use that. Then you're gonna need a pound of Italian sausage. This one I'm gonna use tonight is hot. We like things spicy, but you can use the mild version, whatever works for you and your family. Then you're gonna need half of a yellow onion that you're gonna dice up. And then you're gonna want some garlic, some fresh garlic. It's about a tablespoon, which is gonna be about 3 to 4 cloves of fresh garlic. I love to buy it in these little vacuum sealed packages in the refrigerated produce section of your grocery store. Handy dandy, works well in recipes like this. So you're gonna use about 3 to 4 cloves. If you like garlic, you can throw a little more in. We eat a lot of garlic in our house, so it doesn't bother me to have a little bit in there. Then you're gonna need some tomato paste. You're gonna use 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I love to buy my tomato paste in these tubes like this at the grocery store. It's in the aisle with the canned tomatoes and things like that. Usually it's up on the top shelf, but it comes in a tube like this, and you'll be able to squirt out, kind of like toothpaste, 2 tablespoons of this. And there are generally about 10 tablespoons per container. Read on yours and see how many it has, but there's usually between 8 to 10 tablespoons in one of these tubes. And when you do, you'll just unscrew this cap, and there's a little prong on the end of it, and you'll just poke the end, and then you'll be able to squeeze out your tomato paste. The great thing about it is that you're only going to need about 2 tablespoons of this. Then you can put the rest, you can put this tube in your refrigerator. It'll keep for several weeks, and you can use it in your next recipe versus opening that little can that comes sometimes. And that little can, when you try to take 2 tablespoons out of that, then how do you seal up that can and keep that fresh in your fridge? This is just really handy to be able to do that. So you're going to need some tomato paste. You're going to need a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Then you're gonna need 4 cups of low sodium chicken broth, which is 1 full box, 32 ounces. So 4 cups of that, so 1 box. And then you're gonna need some basil, or as Gordon Ramsay likes to say, basil. But if you're from merry old England, you can say basil. But you'll want some basil. If you still have fresh from your garden, by all means use that. But we're just gonna use dried tonight. Then you're gonna want some salt and some pepper. Just regular old black pepper. Then you're gonna need a package of refrigerated tortellini. This is cheese tortellini. This is how many ounces is this? 9-ounce package of tortellini. So that will work just fine for this. It's in the refrigerated section at your grocery store as well. At our local Dillon's, it's near the cream cheese for whatever reason. And then you're gonna need 1 bunch of fresh spinach from your produce department. So those are our cast of characters. It does really serve really well if you want to serve it with like a crunchy Italian bread or a baguette or something like that, so you can scoop it up and eat out of there with some fresh Parmesan on top or something like that for serving later if you want. You don't have to have that, but if you want, I always like good breads to dip in to my Italian soups and some crusty breads and things like that, so really fantastic. So we're gonna get started, but that's your cast of characters. Okay, first things first, what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and pan your insert. And we're gonna get ready to start sauteing off our onions. And if you'll turn your pressure cooker to the saute function, and while you're chopping up your onion, go ahead and let this heat up and get ready so that it will be ready and nice and warm when you're ready to go. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and dice up your onion and get that ready. Okay, so we've got our onion diced up, and I want you to go ahead and add a few tablespoons of oil to your Instant Pot that's been heating up over here. And then go ahead and put that onion right down into your pot. We want to go ahead and start sauteing that off. Get them started. And then we're going to go ahead and grate in. If you want to dice your garlic, you can absolutely dice it. If you don't like dicing garlic, like I do not like dicing garlic, because I feel like it gets sticky on my fingers, you don't have to dice it. You can use your handy dandy microplane, one of these wonderful little jobbies, and just grate it right in. Go ahead and grate in, like I said, about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic, depending on how big your cloves are. A couple of mine were kind of little, so we're going to do about 5. Like I said, we like garlic, so you can adjust that to your own taste, what your family likes. Okay. So we've got our onions and garlic going in here. And then I want you to go ahead and put your Italian sausage in here to start browning it off too. My saute feature on my Instant Pot has a low, medium, and a high setting. And I just noticed that it was on low, so I stuck it up, turned it off and turned it back on again. And I put it up on high because we want to go ahead and brown all this off really nicely. So we're just going to put this sausage down in here and crumble it with our hands a little bit so we can start browning off our sausage here. Now, I have my sausage down here in the Instant Pot. I crumbled it down inside here. And if you've got one of these handy dandy tools from Pampered Chef like this, it's called a mix and chop. It's really fantastic for something like this. That you can use your mix and chop down in here. It's got a nice long handle that allows you to break up this sausage as it's browning down inside the pot. Super duper helpful. Fantastic. Keeps your arm from steaming up. You can use a fork too if you've got one, but this just keeps your hand kind of up and out of that steam, which is really great. Okay, so our sausage is just about browned off. You can see down in here, it's just about browned off. So while it finishes browning, we're going to do the next few steps. So I want you to go ahead and take your tomato paste that you've got, and we're going to put in about 2 tablespoons of that. So just squeeze in about 2 tablespoons. Like that. Give that a good stir right in there. We want to get that tomato paste in there so it can cook just a little bit. Bring out that flavor. And get it started. Beautiful. So we've got our tomato paste in. I want you to go ahead and saute that for just a couple of minutes. And while we're sauteing that, we're going to go ahead and put in our basil. And you want a good couple of tablespoons of that as well. And we're going to go ahead and put in our salt and pepper. About a half to a teaspoon of pepper, depending on how spicy you like things. But a half to a teaspoon of that, and then about a teaspoon of salt. Give that a good stir around. smells heavenly in here right about now. You can smell that basil and the salt and the pepper. It's fantastic. Now I want you to go ahead and put in your chicken broth in the whole box. I like to use low sodium chicken broth because I like to control my own salt. But that's kind of up to you. That's a personal preference. But I like to be able to control the salt myself. I don't want somebody else controlling it with how much salt is in that chicken broth. So I like to use the low sodium kind. So we've got 4 cups, which is 1 whole box of chicken broth in there. And then we're going to put in our crushed tomatoes as well. Put in our can of crushed tomatoes. Give that a stir, just like that. You can see it's a beautiful, rich, red, rusty red color. Fantastic. We're gonna let that sit and heat for just a little bit. We added a lot of liquid into there. That 4 cups is a lot of liquid that goes down into your pot, and it's gonna take just a little bit to come to pressure. So what I like to do before I put the lid on and before I put this tortellini in, I like to let this heat just a little bit. Go ahead and heat it. So what you can do while you're waiting on it, go ahead and turn your machine off of the saute feature, pop it up to pressure cook, and go ahead and set it for your time. We're gonna want 4 minutes at high pressure. So if you go ahead and set it to the pressure cook at high pressure for 4 minutes, you can go ahead and get that to start heating up, and it'll start to heat through some of that chicken broth. And then that way, when you go to put the lid on and bring it up to pressure, it won't take quite as long to come to pressure. When you have a lot of cold liquid in your Instant Pot, it's going to take a while to heat through that liquid. So if you can give it a chance to heat your ingredients as you're cooking. So while we were doing all this, we were kind of heating all those ingredients together. The onions, the sausage, the garlic, the seasonings, the tomato paste, now the tomatoes, and now the chicken broth. All of that has kind of been coming up to temperature as we've been cooking, as we've been building these layers of flavor. And then that way, when you go to put the lid on, it will already be somewhat heated. It'll start to build steam faster. It'll come to pressure faster, especially when you have a lot of liquid like you do for a soup. So we're gonna let that continue to come up and start to get warm. And we're gonna go ahead and take our tortellini, our package here, open it up, if I can get a hold of it. Maybe. If not, we're just gonna cut it. We'll take the easy way out. So we got our package of tortellini here, and I want you to give your soup just a quick stir real quick before you put this tortellini in. Then we're gonna put this tortellini in right on top, okay? I want you to barely, gently stir it. I don't want you to stir it to where that tortellini gets all the way down at the bottom, but if you just kind of poke him under, just barely under that sauce on the top, you'll do yourself a favor. We're gonna lock our lid on to our pot, and now we're gonna wait for it to come up to pressure. Once it comes up to pressure, it will start the countdown for the cook time. But this particular pot that I have is already automatically in the sealing position. If you have a different version of the Instant Pot, make sure that your lid and that your valve is in the sealing position, okay? And after that, we're just gonna wait for this to come up to pressure, cook its 4 minutes, and we'll come back. Okay, so our cook time has completed. We are at 0 minutes, and now we want to release the pressure on this Instant Pot. So I want you to go ahead and hit the pressure release. On this particular machine, there's just a button right here that we're going to press. On some machines, you may have a lever that you need to turn from sealing to venting. Just be careful, don't get your hand near this valve right here because it's full of hot steam. So as you do it, pull your machine out away from your countertop or from your upper cabinets, just so that it doesn't steam the front of your cabinets as well. And then we're just going to release the steam. We're going to do what you call a quick release. Okay, so our pot has finished releasing all of its steam. The little pin dropped right here. And so we are ready to open this lid. Now, when you go to open this lid, be very, very careful, okay? Because that is really hot contents inside. There's a lot of steam that built up. So what I'd like for you to do is open this lid, pull it, and tip that, and let any of the condensation from the lid up here drip right down into that pot and not down your arm, because it will burn the fire out of you, okay? So my pot has a hole right here in the side to where you can set the lid. But I'm gonna move it out of the way just so it's not in the way while I'm trying to talk to you. You can see our beautiful soup here that our tortellini has risen to the top. It's all cooked and delicious. We're gonna give that a quick stir. And then while this was cooking, I rinsed my spinach, and I've got it sitting right here. So this was a full bunch of spinach. You can also buy the baby spinach if you want to in the salad bag. It works just fine for this as well. But get this rinsed off really, really well. And you're gonna think, wow, that's a lot of spinach that's going in there. But as spinach, like so many greens, it's gonna wilt down really fast and wilt right in. So we're just gonna put that right into the pot. And then we're just gonna stir it in. And the heat from this soup is gonna wilt that so fast right into our soup. As you can see, it just immediately starts to wilt right in there. Now in our family, we like cheese. So you can take some Parmesan Reggiano if you want to. Grate it on top here. If you want, grate that in a little bit. You can also just grate it on top when you go to serve it. But I mean, in our world, is there ever too much Parmesan Reggiano cheese? I'm not sure that such a thing exists. Put that in, add a little bit of creaminess if you want to. You can leave that out if you want to as well. That's kind of up to you. Now, we're gonna serve this up. I mean, look at this beauty. I mean, you've got the tortellini, you've got great, beautiful pieces of that Italian sausage down in there. I mean, it's really delicious. It's fantastic on a cool fall night or a winter's night. It kind of warms you through, but it's kind of comforting Italian home style food. So let me put just a little bit of this down in here into my soup bowl. Get an extra little tortellini there for the top. I mean, it's so pretty down inside this little soup bowl. I gotta tell you, I love these soup tureens. They're from Jalisca, and they're from a local little boutique that we have here in Topeka, Home at Last. And I adore these. They make a beautiful presentation on your table, and for a tablescape when you're making for fall, this beautiful pewter. They are just, I mean, they're amazing. So I'm going to put a little bit more cheese on top for myself before I serve it. Just because I'm bougie like that. Just put a little more cheese on top. And we're going to try this. I mean, big pieces of tortellini. That's wicked hot. I'm going to give that just a second. I'm going to try to cut one of those tortellinis just a little bit so I don't take a huge humongous bite in front of y'all. But the spiciness of that sausage, the tortellini, comfort, yummy. That's super hot, y'all. Super duper hot. Gonna burn my tongue. But it is worth it for y'all. I love the little bit of earthiness that the spinach adds to it. A little creaminess of that extra little cheese on top. Spiciness of that Italian sausage and the fennel that comes through from that Italian sausage. Like I said, if you don't like spicy, just put in mild Italian sausage. You'll be just fine. But the tortellini too, you could always substitute out. I use the cheese tortellini tonight, but if you wanted to use, say, like the mushroom filled or the spinach filled tortellini, you could totally do that. Change this up however you want to. I use, like I said, hot Italian sausage. You could use turkey sausage. If you're gonna use turkey sausage in it, maybe just add some more seasonings to it. Add some oregano, some thyme, some maybe a little crushed red pepper to give it a little bit of spice, something like that, because the turkey sausage usually doesn't have a tremendous amount of spice to it. So you can do that. You can twist that up, make it a little healthier for yourselves. Whatever works for you and your family. But I thank you for joining me here in Mama Fin's kitchen tonight. Like I said, this refrigerates really well. You can make it ahead and then have it for your lunches during the week. If you're working from home, it makes a really fast one to heat up in between meetings. And if you're cuckoo crazy with meetings like I am, sometimes you gotta have something like that. But I thank you for joining me here in Mama Fin's kitchen tonight. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button right down here in the corner. You'll get notified of the new videos when they come out on YouTube. And as always, the full recipe will be on my blog at elfinson.blogspot.com. So thanks for joining me again tonight. Stay safe, stay healthy, be kind to one another, love one another, take care of one another. We'll see you next time. Bye now.